I I can't believe how much shit our prime minister just did overnight on his new C5 empowerment to globalize the supply chain. Like, to talk about ramming through a country, just taking away everything that, again, this global supply chain put itself in between the municipalities and the provinces. It's not Canadian. It goes like this, straight through us. And Trump, you were wrong. Pierre Poilievre would have been great to work with. He's a, oh, that spirit. We could have had such a renaissance. We could have already been building all of those pipelines. All of them. David Eby, you don't want what? Yes, you do. 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 Ah, again, it's not about you, David Eby. It's about the percentage of the population. And at this point, we've seen in the last few weeks the percentage of the population that wants pipelines is extremely high. Extremely high. Enough is enough. Oh, we get something, right, Daddy? Daddy Warbucks? Like, he's Daddy Warbucks, sitting there just enriching and enriching. The thing about the totalitarian globalist elite, and stop calling yourself elite, first of all, because you're the most timid, frightened, agenda driving thing that's ever existed. Agenda driving means insane. It means insane. It's fascist. It doesn't work. And you just enriched yourself for 40 years to try and do it. Everything we worked for was undermined by you as you gathered and created and concocted. And now you're just micromanaging like seven streams, public sector. Ugh, I can't. This fucking joker borrowed out of debt to inflate the public service without cause, without reason. Dude, we are working our asses off to stay out of the mental health circuit, out of the fucking opioid racket, out of the fucking criminal junket, out of the death by injection into the nervous system. All the deaths are the same death, injection into the nervous system. Stop injecting shit into your plasma. You're injecting shit into your plasma. It's not even your blood. You can't do that. You cannot inject shit into your plasma. It's not good. Again, nice theory. Okay, so what's the theory now? Like, the theory has been destroyed. And then the health authorities out there giving itself full veto. Stop with the veto. There's no veto at the United Nations. You abominations. You are in the way of our fucking public discourse. What we are trying to do, what we were trying to do, by offering the mandate to a public set of administrators. And the mandate, not the mandate to make decisions and guide projects, the mandate to do what we say to do next. It still came from the public. We were involved, okay? And we were building, we were guiding and engineering, and we could have been so quickly on the digital wallets, onto the like private direct market digital wallets, self-managed, self-maintained. The end user is coming for two or three specific things. The contents of that bank account is not yours, bank. The fucking interface, the home screens are not yours, cell phone companies. And you do not keep the digital copy of everything we hold. Everything we hold is in the phone. It already exists. It's not broken. To deviate from that at this point, like we said, you have just convinced a bunch of minions to go with you. You've just beefed up the billionaire sector by like tenfold. Now you fucking hoarding, dirty ass pieces of shit are going to work yourself out. Okay? Yes, you're building AI. You're building surveillance. You're building this and that and the other. You're doing it. You're after carbon. You're after fucking the insane access to the genetics, which don't even exist. You don't even need to fuck with genetics. Genetics, it's like 45,000 times magnification. You don't need it. It's not good to sit and curb genetics. Genetics unfold. If you take out the toxic shock factor into the nervous system, again, like you don't want to trip your nervous system up because it could easily cause your creativity to misfire and you manifest something like a stagnation or a toxic inflammation. Remember, you could be seeing things from the acupuncture map of the body. The energetics in that are far superior to the energetics in the allopathic system. And from there, we have the vibrational foundation of light theory based medicine, which we're moving towards, which is also self managed. You have made yourselves redundant. We don't need a fucking ultimate veto on everything. WHO, Pierre Pia, if we had elected Pierre Poilievre, we'd also be pulled out of that thing by now. That is a disgusting mechanism, and it always has been. Centralizing health authorities, they just took over. They just took over from the countries. And now they fucking think they run it. That was just a very big, bad rape, and we don't need to tolerate it. Again, this idea that our movement will inevitably, eventually be restricted based on our vax status is not the conversation that we're having. The conversation that we're having is vaxes are very much in question now. They're definitely not prepping the immune system for anything because the toxic, oh my god, it's heavy water. It's heavy water. It's nuclear fallout waste. Why would they put nuclear fallout waste in the nervous system to impact the immune system in the first place? You got to understand, you're not getting the bloodstream. When you put it in the arm, you're not getting into the bloodstream. It's going into the interstitial tissue. It's two different systems, guys. And you can't get rid of carbon because carbon is an entire system is based on it. These guys have internalized the grade 3 science that exhale equals bad. Exhale doesn't equal bad, guys. Exhale equals, it's a constant process of digestion and ingestion. Digestion, ingestion. It's not bad. Like, okay, so you're taxing breathing, you're taxing basic electricity, and then you're gunning for a fucking 9 times the energy guzzling surveillance system that replicates, duplicates, copies, uploads, and mutilates every bit of data it possesses. And it possesses it by no authority, just in its own head, delusionally. It has no fucking country affiliation. It's not coming from anywhere but squatting in the UN. And you just think you're gonna fucking replicate everything only to fail miserably because you don't have any protection. You don't have protection against corruption. Period. Done. Because anything can be manipulated. Like I said, I proved it. I had to go out and prove it. I had to get myself on tape doing something that could have been used once I figured out, because I had just created those holograms on YouTube. Once I figured out that they were onto my ass again and they were tapped into my building's fucking infrastructure. I was definitely being hacked at the point. I simply just did something on camera that they could fuck with, and they did. I'm the living proof. They fucked with footage based on their belief that they are entitled to. They sent 2 fucking operatives in between me and my building. It was very simple to pull off. Very simple. Very awful. Very awful experience getting camera footage fucked with because you can fuck with digital CGI, 3D realities. Deadmau5 2011. We finally got it. We finally built 3D realities. Well, we're in trouble then because camera footage doesn't work. You need to pull down the cameras, guys. These guys are building data machines, thinking machines off the data from these cameras. Your slavery, your fucking total life, like you're bending time, you're bending the atmosphere, you're bending the ionosphere, like you're fucking with Earth's positioning. It's disgusting. And then You want to put a golden dome over us? No thanks on that one, because it would be too fucking hard. It would be too poisonous into the ionosphere. It'd be too hard on us. It'd drive us wing long. Anyway, it is what it is, but we're not having the conversation where the global elite are successful. If there's an immediate ceasefire in this second biggest conflict in the world, well, we're going to have to deal with that. And we're going to just understand that nobody is getting regional authority anymore. You got regional oligarchs? No more. You've got the same threat we've got. UN squatters trying to run an oligarch over all of it because they're intoxicated on the idea of trillions of dollars of profit and trillions of dollars of debt, incidentally. It's a limitless digital economy, boys. You guys are, through legal identities, putting digital amounts into the market right now. You're convincing us it's still based on the debt, but it's not. You're just directing. That's why they're making so much progress right now, building out all these 7 chains of distribution, regulation, certification, registration, administration. It's all of it. Transportation. It's all of it. And they think, we're walking into this thing with a credit score already assigned. Like, what do you mean already assigned? It's not something you're going to grandfather. If you're going to reset us, we're all getting a fucking fresh start. We're all getting a number and we're all getting a fresh start. You're numbering everybody and it's going to be at a fresh start. This is something that's not broken. You're fixing something that's not broken. Why would you do that? There's nothing wrong with the system the way it works, at least for now. And to walk away from it requires a lot more than, okay, submit to authority. Have everything bent and bent some more. Have you unleashing viral threats whenever you want, fucking demanding all access. Oh, demanding favoritism, demanding veto, demanding veto over individuals? No. No. It is what it is. But we've had enough of the vaxes. We're all sick and polluted from it. This spike protein thing, there is no spike protein. They hid a nanotechnology in an oat protein. It mimics the bloodstream and tricks out the immunity. That is what really happened behind the COVID. There is no spike protein that gets emitted. It's not a protein spike. It's an oat protein. It's an oat protein. And it's not in the blood. It's not in the blood. It's not going into the blood. It's going through the plasma. That's why it's having a problem, because you can't put something that mimics blood into the plasma. Anyway, full of fucking nanotechnology on top of it. Yeah, you want to edit genes. No, thank you. Can you stop editing genes, please? If there's one thing we could do with life, it's move from a gene editing theory to a natural-based, harmonicizing, constantly recapitulating with harmony. Into harmony, we capitulate ourselves. I just think, why would anyone do anything less? I'm sitting here devastated at the loss of my mom to this nonsense. It gave her the encephalitis. That was a terrible way to live. And it's just lunatic to think that Donald Trump would have picked working with this jackass over Pierre Poilievre, who would have allowed us a similar renaissance to the US. So we've got the tariffs to get over. So how do we meet a certain amount that makes him happy and gets our independence secured? We just have robust US favoring trade with our favorite ally. Like, why would we ally with, no offense, Europe, but you haven't come to where we come. Like aligning with Europe for a Canadian, we'd have to give up our stance on the public mandate. There is no mandate to fucking operate in clandestine. Like overnight, you should see what that man just did. You should see how much he's already ran with. He didn't tell the media, he didn't tell nobody, he'll never even speak of it again. He's just like, "Okay, Canada, you're fucked. Bye." No, thanks, bitch. Thanks, bitch. No, you're a traitor. You're a treasonist. This is not how we operate. You now are running around with executive powers. We've lost the guys completely of of even getting to know the mandate. We're now so far removed from setting the next move to say that we're going to move from progressive innovative to this uh, fake recession and just years of stagnation. You're promising us years of stagnation. You're promising us years of hurt. It's going to be painful. Why does it have to be painful? Because we insist on a debt. Why? It's digitally limitless. You have no argument left. You have no argument left. You have no argument left. It is what it is. But you have to understand there's no active threat right now. We don't need to be policing our mobility. The COVID is now like the flu, which makes it, the one thing that you constantly have to. No, you're desperately going after the release of smaller doses of scarier things. Like you're fear mongering, bud, and it's just gotta stop. It's not based in proper physics. You've based it in chemical molecular and a very poor understanding of chemical molecular on top of that. There's no physics in science. If you look at physics, you don't need the chemical molecular. You have the light vibrational core of the reality. Each cell group having its own frequency, each frequency being malleable. And please, let's note that there's positive frequencies we can apply. People like Bill Gates, who just ruined frequency across the world, he just introduced as many malevolent frequencies as he could come up with for no reason. Remember the little fit he threw in the back of my machine when his whole fucking livelihood was tied to my existence and my identity? Just running viruses everywhere, and the mortality, the sterility, like the idea that he didn't go in and inject Ebola, all the shit right into the situation, or the idea that Ebola wasn't some sort of toxic chemical related junket because of the depraved hygiene conditions the WHO and the WEF insist on maintaining in these regions. Remember, they're failing the MDGs. They don't get the SDGs. They failed the MDGs irrevocably, like just astoundingly, just perpetuating poverty, literally just raking in everything they could get, converting it into a private model of ownership. Private businessmen doing their business, and that's the mandate. You think you got a vote out of it? You think you got a vote out of it? You have fucking electronic counting machines. You have electronic counting machines. It's like if no one scrutinized that, we deserve to get screwed. But I want to mourn the loss today of our not having Pierre Poilievre in office. What happened to him was brutal. The Liberals are cutthroat, they're ruthless. They decided they were going to add 40,000 people to his riding that were all Liberal voters. Like, you can't do that. That's not ethical. We don't sit and look at Pierre Poilievre and go, oh yeah, dude lost a fair fight. It's not that Carney won, it's that Pierre lost. No, he didn't. We have a divide. Half the country is not down with the sweeping powers that this dude just fucking went and created out of our fucking supply chain. Well, I told you he was coming for the supply chain, and he's already finished it all. He's already finished it all. Take out some of the draconian shit or not. But the worst crime he's done so far is borrowing debt to inflate the public sector. He has given no justification for this. There's no extra roles that he's defined that they're taking over. He's just throwing 100,000 new employees on the public sector or whatever it is. And the fact is he's identified no major need for them on top of it. And it's just because in their establishment version, the establishment needs to have certain things to maintain the 5 streams, right? Your essentials. So wards of the state. They're wards of the state. And then you've got people that are allowed to be part of the supply chain. And then you've got your regulators. You've got now the military, the police, and the private security sector, all patrolling public spaces. Okay, that's a lot of security for very little reason. And then you've got your vegetable class and your either dead or jailed class. Like, we've got to make sure that there's a poverty class that's eventually going to be housed, but vegetables and bread, vegetables and bread. Just remember, they don't get any rights, any mobility. They are born into it. It's classist. And that's, again, a huge flaw. Why would we want to give up democratic multinationalism? Well, because there's less threats? How? The whole world is not going to sign on to lick your ass, guy. You're just creating one big asshole in the sky. And we're supposed to lick it. Like, vie for a place where a tongue tip touches one of your pubic hairs. Just to be part of it. This big dangling puppet with a fucking asshole full of humans. Like, I guess if you want, but I can't see it happening. Like, it's just dead. It's dead in the water. Where it would have to go to convince itself, okay, you've just stolen the supply chains of Canada. You've already stolen all of our immigration department, which you then screwed. All of our public institutions, our mail system, our media is yours, bought and paid now. Like, you just keep raping my country, and you're doing it without the mandate. You've gone and recreated in your head what the mandate is. The mandate to make decisions and to take opportunities. No, the mandate was always, okay, this is what we want done next. So we're at a standstill, and I'm not just going to disappear. That Canadian enterprise is not just going to disappear. See what I mean? All right, I'll let you go. I'm sucking today. Just joking. I'm just distraught. And I never expected to live my life with any sort of feeling of distraughtness. But when I'm raped like that and canceled and undermined, keep in mind, this bitch was never harmful. This bitch made dirty enemies and made them run whimpering puppies because they couldn't touch my work. Run like whimpering puppies all you want. Pierre Poilievre was the better match for Donald Trump. And I don't mean match. I mean someone that just would have moved on the fucking trade deal. Like, Carney just said, I don't even give a shit about this trade deal because it's multinational. He's a globalist. He says, I'm going to do this shit and get it done first. And then maybe I'll do something with the trade deal. How dare you? How dare you? People are just losing their jobs left, right, and center right now because of that trade deal. And he just didn't give a fuck about it whatsoever. Oh, these pundits on CBC, they're all just impressed that their vaxes don't lead to neurological dysfunction. And while highly narcissistic, as per the fucking scheduled programming, they think they got their shit together. They're overlooking half of this shit. They don't even touch on most of it. They have no idea what he just signed. Is it Brussels that he's in? Is he in Brussels right now? Defuncting the United Nations, just squatting in it. No country ties. Oh, a bunch of self-propelled oligarchs that got rich off the fat of the public sector, destroying it, destroying public input into the mandate. Anyway, good luck, classist. They're building 3-tiered planes, 3 levels of comfort in these big fat belly planes. Good luck. I don't want anywhere near one of those. Oh, you don't even get ads on your screen for travel. You're not allowed in the travel class. What do you mean? You pre-tagged me? Yes. Attacker and intruder, miss. No, I ain't. No, I ain't. I'm no attacker and intruder, but I am a resistor. I am a resistor. And I am going to publicly boycott at some point. If it gets too much, Canadians will hit the streets. There's still half of this country that voted conservative. I don't care what you say. It was only 2 months ago. Your nanopoles can suck my dick. The nanopoles are what convinced people to vote. They just cranked them one night. Okay, well, let's crank them. We have to time it precisely. We'll crank the polls and we'll get as many of the fucking essential class as we can. They got the whole essential class. Yeah, the public sector. That's who voted for them. People who think they're going towards that old, I cannot tolerate poverty. The MDGs have been forsaken for you pricks. How much money have they laundered? Holy shit. Those investments in NATO and shit, they're so that they can secure procurement. They're all guns manufacturers, guys. Anyway, stop killing. Stop killing. We're so close. We're so close. Negotiation. Russia and Ukraine, please solve it in negotiation. Stop with the myth that multinationalism causes war threat. That's a huge piece of getting our dialogue back from these globalist freaks. Sorry, Bill Gates, but you have put so much toxicity into Earth, refusing to believe that burning and covering causes pests. Like, you don't have genetic mutations, fire burning ants. These are all mutations. These are easy little snips if you want to be editing genes. Like, we just want a chance to rejuvenate the soil with nutrients, burn and cover in small areas. We don't need the whole thing, just like you don't get the whole thing. Anyway, what he did overnight, thanks Canada, thanks for C5, thanks for fucking your dirty compliance. Your dirty compliance will be known in history as worse than the Germans, because these people have killed so many people. They kill. Look at our death rate. Our death rate just went up by 5,000 people a year, guys. Like, really? Okay, Maid, you caused the death rate to skyrocket. Maid, you caused the death rate to skyrocket. Something's wrong. We don't need compassionate end-of-life care if we're not facing institutionalized ineptitude. When do you think people are choosing end-of-life care? There's a stat on the way in. They're choosing it on the way in. They're like, I ain't going in there. I'm going out. You've already taken my mobility from me somehow. The life of sedentarism, absolute electroenergetic distraction. That whole realm they've created off a sector of the brain's energy, of the brain's Hertz frequencies. Remember, brain matter also has cells at its base. They also have distinct Hertz frequencies. And this whole reality that we're dealing with in Hollywood, this whole reality where the Google were trying to come through and perpetuate their consciousness past deaths into willing victims is part of our mental spectrum, and it's out of the visual, audible, and visual range of frequency. All of these hertz that have been held captive and are now tied into this. This is something we need to untangle and perpetuate. We have a very big energetic puzzle on our hands. It's a great puzzle. How to understand the level of depravity these people went to in thinking, if it doesn't be me, the whole world falls apart. That's all they're thinking, the globalists. If it's not me, the whole world falls apart. Oh, get it. Yeah, no, you're a fucking real idiot narcissist. So we've got this whole thing to untangle now. We've got this whole energetic apparatus linked in and happening on a psychological level, just out of reach of the perceptible. And as more and more people come in, we can balance that energy, and we just have to come to the knowledge of what part of our hertz frequency has been hijacked. And the holographic is part of the human consciousness. Like, there's so much more to be doing, and I'm just so wasted. These guys stole all those logical puzzles from me, stole my fucking income generator, stole my freestyle light show mechanism, and many other things. My hertz frequency generator they stole. They stole my military navigation system. They stole my enshrined password that was completely embedded in a satellite network and impenetrable. And I'm sitting here dead-ended on YouTube, trying to cope, because that was actually a lasting scar there, fellow human. You're still calling yourself human on some level. You're thinking you're an actor who has the right, but you're a criminal, and you're all treasonists, especially here in Canada. So good luck. I don't know what you want from us, but it's not what you're going to get. In the long run, you are over. You are not the conversation. This is just watching the last dregs of all of it. No, they really did all of it. They really did all of it, and they are promising us a life of short expectancy, low fucking spiritual contentment, and like an utter gut raping for the whole time. Just an utter gut raping is all they're promising to keep itself in place. But if that war ends, you got no terror constantly droning in the background. So if Trump has to do it without Poilievre's support, it sucks to be us. Because that would have been a duo for the ages. They would have loved each other. And you can take that from me or don't, but we would have been so much better off than just watching these globalists put a nice greasy cap on the fucking destruction of the Canadian and the United Nations ideals. This is what happened. Canadians, you were leaders of the world for a reason. Now we're looking at you like, well, why would I even go there? Why would you come here? It's like, you can't. There's nothing right now. It's a wasteland. It's every bit the wasteland it looks like. All of our data, all of our tax bucks, all of our everything has been stolen, rewritten, and used to fund this globalist bullshit because it started in Alberta. It started here. It came here immediately in the 80s. It's like, oh, no. We got to have Canada. We can't have Canada doing that. What? Resource sharing? Yes. Methodology sharing? Yes. Training sharing? Yes. Why? So we can go in every direction all at once and all be engaged. What? It's just 4 billion employable people, guys. That's easy to engage. Do you know how much project is suffering, waiting to happen in this world? Because these nuts think the SDGs, digital ID. No, we don't move from solving maternal. You have the mandate to solve maternal poverty, and you move to digital IDs. You create an immigration crisis. You create a fucking couple fake wars. Like, holy shit! It's deplorable. It's deplorable. You have to understand. We're not sitting here going, yeah, fucking cool. We're going deplorable. So yeah, the Liberals timed that spike in the polls with their fucking election announcement. Simple. Here, we'll introduce a new guy, we'll spike the polls, we'll election announce him, and then we won't realize that he's the failed, disastrous banker that just self-enriched and created Brookfield out of thin air to grab up assets as fast as they could, exploiting the fucking current system, and then installing an income generator, which is truly limitless, at an arbitrary debt rate. And it wants us to be convinced it's all based on market forces, when it just enshrines these 5 people to lend directly to central banks. 5 groups, 5 lenders. Yeah, no, you let them close my bank account, you let them fucking have the win. It's disgusting, but there's no debt. There is no debt. These people have got income generators in digital identities that they're feeding the market with. Apple doesn't have a $500 billion investment to make. Apple's broke. Apple barely gets its fucking retail outlets paid for. It doesn't have $500 billion to invest. It was funneled through intended results. And again, they don't have a world's worth of allure. That's the problem. We need to acknowledge the very real theory that they have just bombed their chosen e-cities, and they're about to build e-cities or luxury resorts for themselves, like tiered classism. Like on the trillionaires level, we've got to deal with like 13 trillionaires that want, like, what do we got? Like 130 trillionaires by now. It's like too many, guys. And you did it by exploiting the Canadian tax buck and single-handedly dismantling our entire fucking foundational integrity. I don't know how we're supposed to just subside and let that happen. But I, for one, have to bide my time right now. But I'm sorting it out. And it's happening now. All right. Again, walking into a digital identity system that is totally redundant, totally energetically fucking manipulative. Like, so much energy this thing costs. And so do electric vehicles, of course. But natural gas, guys. Water engines, there's so many different free energies. Like, it's madness on top of it, how much free energy there is. It's madness. The amount of oil in the world is, well, it's a lot. It's going to fuel us until we can get to a calmer day where we're really dealing with free energy. But remember, the services come to your house when the services want now. And they just put propane smell in the air, but that's pure free energy they're moving in, because nuclear creates water. It creates water from oxygen and then leaves us with OH in the air. That's what all these streaks are for, getting rid of OH, because they burn millions of liters of water a day in the pursuit of nuclear energy. It is an abomination. And they process it in North Korea. That's why North Korea gets no... It's processed there. The bitumen flows and it gets processed. It's not bitumen, guys. It's pure oxygen, raped from a water molecule, moved to create more water. And then the water comes out of North Korea. Yeah, no, it does. It does. It's heavy water, but there's so much more potential when we get down to the energetics of all of it. And nuclear is a very interesting forefront because it has the energetics. But imagine being so two-faced that the people that are working in your plants don't even know what's happening. The process is so clandestine that people just maneuver the process along. not really knowing what's going on with it. But burning that much water knowingly, consciously, willfully is not sustainable, guys. Nuclear is not sustainable. Why would anybody want nuclear energy when they're sitting on oil? We shouldn't have it here in Canada either. Sitting there fucking drying out our lakes, fucking with the balance of nature to the extent where you're taking one of the world's freshwater supplies and draining it out 1.5 million liters a day, twice a day or 3 times a day. 1.5 million liters of water is burned in nuclear fission and fusion. No, you're just taking the water. That's the water that you're using. You don't need that for cooling. You need it to get the oxygen molecule off it. You're shocking it, putting it through a process, and getting rid of the OH. Sending the OH out in planes now in a more and more increasingly wide grid. It's just crooked. It's just crooked. It's too bad that it has to happen. But in 50 years from now, we're all going to be realizing it's a digital economy. Let's just make it limitless. Let's go back to the old Canadian way. Yeah, Alberta tried. Alberta is the globalists, and now they're being left behind by the globalists, like the Hells Angels. And that's what they do. They create gangs, they create misery, they create drug crises. This is all done by the public sector to the fucking people. Okay, they worked with AJ. Okay, they worked with these guys in some of the most abysmal transactions that have ever been documented. But it was an inside job. All of our opioid crisis, all of our poverty crisis wasn't here in the 70s. It wasn't here in the 70s. We had so much potential. But like I said, they as part of 2030, they don't want to what do you call it? Perpetuate the poverty class. They want to modular house them all and make vegetables of them and just start furtively. That is the class that will get the worst faxes, and the gene editing will happen. Oh God, this one shows some potential, sliced. This one here, assign. It's easy to assign all sorts of mutations. This one causes cancer, this one causes dementia, they have them all. The codes are all there. But you have to understand that they've taken natural codes, applied counter codes that were redundant, harmful, disgusting, instead of applying counter frequencies that were perfectly realigning. God, we could all live to 150 years quite effortlessly. Why wouldn't we want to live to 150 years old? Why wouldn't we want to engage in projects, watch beautiful things? This is a very miraculous realm, Earth, and it's not being slowed and marred by these fucktards. Fucktards. I'll let you go. It was good talking to you. Thanks for supporting my ugliness. I used to be gorgeous. We'll talk soon. It's because I ate pesticide. Because you put pesticide on my garden, Daddy, and thought I might die from that. You're damn lucky I didn't die from that. It definitely decreased my fucking rate of health. Let's just call it. You can see it on my very first videos, though most of them have been scrubbed offline. I was cute. I had a beautiful glow. And then boom, you took it down. One kiss. You forced a kiss on me and sucked my soul. It was like that. I watched the thing go, and I had to work to recalibrate around it, to remember my essence. And they just want the ability to go full throttle. And that's just part of the delusion of megalomania. Mark Carney or Zuckerberg or whatever your name is, you're a megalomania. And how dare you think that you could profit off of all that, justified because you'll be one of the families that get to the top. I don't know. You allow for poverty, therefore you're a total criminal. And of course, introducing the opioid cycle, bringing in the illegal fentanyl once it got, you know, it was an inside job. And that is not the Canadian mandate. We've now got a case in the ICC against what's happened against you people for what's happened in our countries. The Liberal Party is complicit in the worst corruption the world has ever seen. And the Conservatives are implicated as well under Harper. But you're the hard Canadian, I guess. I guess you're the hard Canadian, and that was a Canadian decision. That's your crux. That's your crux. So we'll see where it lands in the next 6 to 10, okay, buddy? Good luck. And no thanks. That's still the mantra. Yeah, no. This should be the only poke we ever get. Again, babies. Okay, so herd immunity at some point, guys. There's no risk. There's no risk to babies. The only risk to babies, we can't let people as crooked as you think they're going to edit genes. You think you're producing a narrative whereby we think that you people will edit genes functionally. It's too risky. Okay? Love you. Thanks for listening.